Hello, I'm Hannah. I'll be the physician assistant doing your exam today.
Hello.
Just gonna wash my hands real quick. Alright, so first I'm just looking at your general appearance. I'm just checking for mood, affect, cognitive functions, posture, things like that. Looks great. And now I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions to make sure you're alert and orientated to a person, place, and time. So can you go ahead and tell me your name?
Mike Henriksen.
And where are you right now?
My home in McHenry, Illinois.
Perfect. And do you know what today's date is?
June 2nd, 2020.
Awesome. Alright. And now I'm just going to go ahead and start off by assessing your cranial nerve. So for cranial nerve 1, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to close one nostril off and go ahead and breathe in. And the other nostril. Good. I'm just making sure there's good patency. Now can you go ahead and close your eyes for me? And I'm going to ask you to smell something, and if you could go ahead and tell me what it is.
Cinnamon.
Perfect. Yep, it is cinnamon. Okay. And now for cranial nerve 2, I'm going to first start off by assessing your visual acuity. So you can go ahead and leave your glasses on for this. And then if you could hold this string up to your chin for me, and then hold this right there. You can drop the string. And then cover one of your eyes, and then read the lowest line possible you can.
525983.
Perfect. And then can you go ahead and cover the other eye for me? And read that same line backwards.
389525.
Perfect. And now you can go ahead and leave both your eyes open. And can you read that same line again?
525983.
Great. Looks good. And now I'm just going to go ahead and assess your visual fields. So I'm just going to come up here pretty close, sorry. And then go ahead and look straight ahead of me and don't move your head either. And then I'm going to ask you to tell me when you see my fingers wiggle and you can see them in your peripheral vision. Can you see them right now?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Alright, great. And now, if you could go ahead and remove your glasses, I'm going to go ahead and take a look inside your eye and turn the lights off. Oh. Okay, I'm going to put my hand on your face while I do this. And I'm just inspecting while I do this for your cup to disc ratio, your artery to vein ratio, making sure there's no papilledema or pallor. I'm also checking to make sure there's no change in the arteries. I'm going to check for the same thing on this side as well. Looks great. Turn the lights back on. Okay, you can go ahead and put your glasses back on for me. And now I'm just going to check cranial nerves 2 and 3. So I'm just going to check your pupillary reaction. So go ahead and look straight ahead. Okay, direct and consensual and direct and consensual. Great. And now for cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6, I'm going to check your extraocular eye movements first. So if you can go ahead and keep your head straight, but follow my finger with your eyes. Okay, so we'll start up here. Perfect. And now for convergence, follow my finger with your eyes as I move it closer to your nose. Perfect. And now for nystagmus, I'm just checking to make sure there's no nystagmus right here. And then can you go ahead and focus your eyes on the wall behind me. I'm just checking to make sure if there was any nystagmus, it doesn't get worse when you do that. Great. And now I'm just going to check for any leg lag, any ptosis. So it doesn't look like there is, looking at you resting. And then also I'm just going to ask you to watch my finger as I move it up and down. Perfect. Doesn't look like there's any ptosis with that either. Great. Okay, and now for cranial nerve 5, for testing the motor functions for that one, I'm just going to feel your temporal and your masseter muscles relaxed. And then if you could also clench your teeth for me. Okay. Perfect. Good. And now for sensory, I'm going to have a soft touch and a sharp touch. So if you want to hold out your hand so I can just tell you which is which, this will be soft touch and this will be the sharp. Alright, and then I'm going to have you close your eyes, and I'm going to put these at different places of your forehead, cheek, and chin, and just let me know if it's sharp or soft when I touch you.
Sharp. 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 Soft. 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 Sharp. Sharp. Sharp.
Okay, perfect. And then normally I would also assess temperature on this too, and for cold I would use a tuning fork, and for warm I would use the back of 2 of my fingers, but in this case it is deferred. And then I would also test your corneal reaction, and for this I would have you look straight ahead, and then I would step out of your line of vision, and using the wisp of a cotton swab I would stick it into your cornea, and then normally if your reflex was intact it would make you blink and your eyes would water a little bit, but in this case that is also deferred. And then now to assess cranial nerve 7, I'm just going to assess your facial movements. So first, if you could go ahead and raise your eyebrows for me. Perfect. And then if you could close your eyes as tight as you can. Don't let me open them. Good. Okay. And now, if you could go ahead and frown. Okay. And then show both your top and your bottom teeth for me. Perfect. And smile. Good. And then can you puff out your cheeks? Great. All right. And now for cranial nerve 8, I'm going to assess your hearing. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and check the canal patency in both ears. Making sure it's good. Okay. You can go ahead and look straight ahead for me. Great. And on this side. All right. Okay. And for auditory acuity, I'm going to perform the whispered voice test. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to occlude this ear, and then I'm going to whisper a series of numbers and letters, and then I'm just going to have you repeat them back to me.
L24.
Perfect. And on this side.
65R.
Perfect. Okay. And now I'm just going to test for lateralization. So I'm going to hit this and then put it in the middle of your head, and then go ahead and tell me if you can hear equally on both sides of your ears.
Yes.
Okay. And now for the Rene test, this is going to test for bone to air conduction. So again, I'm going to hit it, and then I'm going to put it behind your ear on the bone, and then let me know as soon as you stop hearing it ring. hear it now?
Yes.
Perfect. And the other side.
No.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That was finishing up with cranial nerve 8. And now for cranial nerve 9, I'm just going to have you swallow. So if I can just observe you. Perfect. And then normally I would also test your gag reflex. So I would use a tongue depressor and trigger the gag reflex on both sides in the back of your throat. But in this case it is deferred. Alright, and now for cranial nerve 10. Okay. I'm going to have you open up for me and say ah. Perfect. I'm just looking for a symmetrical rise of the uvula. I'm also noting the phonation of your voice throughout the exam. And now for cranial nerve 11, I'm going to test the strength of your trapezius. So I'm going to come around to the back here. Okay. And first I'm just looking for any fasciculations. And now I'm going to put my hands on your shoulders. And then if you could go ahead and shrug your shoulders while I resist. Perfect. Okay. And now for the strength of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, I'm going to put my hand on your cheek, and then if you could turn your head against the resistance of my hand. Perfect. I'm just going to palpate the muscle here. Okay. And the other side, go ahead and turn. Again, just palpating the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Great. And lastly, for cranial nerve 12, I'm going to have a look at your tongue. So if you could open up for me, just relax. You can stick your tongue back in. Alright. Now I'm just looking for symmetry, any atrophy, and making sure the tongue is midline. Looks good. And you can go ahead and stick out your tongue for me. Again, checking the same things, making sure it's midline, symmetrical. Great. And then if you could stick out the tongue to one side. Great. And the other side. Great. That looks symmetrical. Alright. And now to test the strength of your lingual muscles, I'm going to put my hand on your cheek, and then if you could press your tongue against the inside of the cheek. Great. And the other side. Perfect. And we are done with cranial nerve 12.